Hello everyone, I welcome you all to our channel Let's Learn Automation. And in this session we are going to see the basic thing object, and we are going to clear the understanding of object in a class. So there is many confusion like what is object, why this is called as object. So we are going to see all these things with the proof. So for that I will create one new class and will name it like test object. This is our class. And so what we have done normally, like first of all, we required a method for a particular task. So if I created a method like void method1, and here I will just add one statement. And now if I want to execute this method, then I required object. So for creating the object I will use like this, x equals to new, and I will execute like x dot method1. If I execute, then I will get the execution. So this is what the simple program where I just created one method which contain one statement. I call this method by using one object. Now many people have the confusion like what is object? Is the left part of equal to is object, or is the right part of equal to is the object? Someone says that this is the class, this is the data type, then this is what the variable, reference variable, then this is what the new keyword, then this is what the constructor, everyone. But now we are going to clear all these things like what is object, left side or right side. So to clear that confusion, we have one uh, object oriented principle that is called as a constructor. So for example, if I created the constructor over here, so we know that constructor name is same as the name of the class. So this is what the constructor, and here I will just add one statement, construct constructor. So this is the simple constructor or zero parameterized constructor, and we know this will be execute whenever we created the object. So for example, object is already created there, and if I run this, then first of all constructor will get called, that is this one, and then method will get called. So how this will be executed, because constructor have the behavior like it will get executed whenever the object got created. So now here what I will do, I will comment it, I will delete this. So this is what our object line. So now we'll try to understand what is the object. So if I use this one first of all like this, and now if I try to execute it, so definitely method will not get called because we are not calling the method by using the object. We are trying to just created the object. So what we expect that if this is the object, then the constructor will get called automatically, because it is the behavior of the constructor, like whenever we create the object it will get called automatically. So for example, from this particular line I just use this one, the left portion, and if I execute, then I'm not getting anything. If I execute like this by Java application, then also I'm not getting any execution. It means that this is not the object, this is not the object. If it is object, then definitely this will be get called automatically. So for example, now I will comment this or I will delete this. Now that there is no use. Now I will use this one. So once one thing we prove that this is not the object. Now we just take the right side of the equal to. Now if I execute this and the constructor, if the constructor get called, then this is what the object. So let's try to execute, and we can see that we got the execution of the constructor. It means that this is the real object. The right hand side is the real object. Now let's try to understand the meaning of this particular line. So what happened over here, like this is what the name of the class, then this is what the reference variable means what, we just giving the name to that object for our use, for our own purpose, then equal to and new, and this is what the object. So what we are doing, we are just trying to store this object into one of the variable. Now how it happen, now let's try to delete this. And first of all I will create the object now in a from the very basic, like new and the name of the class. This is what our object. Why it is object? Because if we execute this, then constructor will get called automatically. So this is what our object. Now if I want to call this method, then how can I do that? I just need to use dot m1, sorry, dot method 1. And if I execute, then I'm getting the execution of both the things, because object got created by which constructor get called, and dot method I call by using the object, so method will also get executed. Now if there are multiple method like m2 and here m2, and again I will create one more method like m3. Now by using the same approach, if I use the same approach over here, then what I need to do, I need to create the object again, dot method 2, then again method 3. And if I execute, now we can see that object got created 3 times. Constructor method 1, constructor method 2, constructor method 3. So here what we have done, we have created the 3 different object to call method 1, method 2 and method 3. So this is what the object for every method. But the problem is what, like for calling every method we are creating the new object every time. So this will consume more space, because when we create the new object, some memory space of RAM got allocated for that object, then again some memory space got allocated for this object, and even for this object. So it required a more memory, so that is not good if we have the multiple method to get called. But if we have the single method, then that is what the useful one. So in the place of this, what we can do, so this is what we can say, that approach 1, and it will be useful if we have single method to execute. Now let's see the another approach. Let's comment this. So again I will use the same thing like new test object. So this is what our object, and if I execute this, then we will get the execution of constructor. Now we need to use the second approach, that is what the reference variable. So for that what I will do, I will just use the equal to, and here I will use for example x is our variable. Now the question is like which data type we should use to store this x. For example, if I try to use the integer, then we are getting the error. Then if I use the double, then I am getting the error. And if I use even string, then also I am getting the error. So all these data type are not applicable to store this particular reference variable. So what we need the reference, we need the data type which is applicable for this. So for example, if I don't know which data type I need to use, or what is the useful thing over here, so I just need to mouse over here. So if I mouse over, then I am getting the option create a local variable x. So if I click on this, then automatically one data type got allocated which is related or which is applicable. So string is not applicable, integer is not applicable, double is not applicable, but this is applicable. Why it is applicable? Because we are storing the object of this type. So the reference variable should be also of this type or the same type. then only we can use this particular thing. Now this is the second approach I can say. So let's write down this approach to useful when we have multiple method to execute. So now in this case what happened, I created one object store into the reference variable x of type test object, and now if I call the method, so I will just use like x dot method 1, x dot method 2, x dot method 3, and if I execute, then I'm getting constructor single time object got created, then method 1, method 2 and method 3. So in this particular approach object got created once at single time. So the memory space saved as compared to approach 1. So we can use this approach to when we have the multiple method to call or execute. So this is the better approach if we have multiple method, but if we have the single method, then we can use the first approach. Also there is one more difference, like here we can say that we don't have any reference variable, so this will go directly for the garbage collection. But in this particular case we store this object into the reference variable, so definitely this will not go for the garbage collection. So which things are goes for the garbage collection? Like the thing which do not have any reference. So in a first approach, the three object do not have any reference, so that's why it will go directly for the object sorry garbage collection. But in the second case we have the reference variable x, so definitely this object will not go for the garbage collection. So this is the difference between these two, and now we have the clear idea that what is object and what is reference variable. So thank you.